I'm going to show you how to organize your folders for this class, and specifically with our Google Drive that we have available to us. So please get yourself to your Google Drive. A couple different ways. You can open up a new tab and you can type in google.com. You can also type in drive.google.com. You can also click on your apps right over here. A Google Drive, again, it's cloud-based, so it's accessible any device you have available to you with the internet connection. So first thing I want to do is I want to set up a folder that is called coding. Now think of this just like a math folder or a science folder. This is the folder. It's going to contain everything for this particular class. What's really nice about Google Drive, you can also create folders inside of folders. So I'm going to open up the coding folder, and I'm going to create one that is just for rubrics. So when you start doing your apps and your coding, you and I are going to talk about what your score is for that app and your notebook. Then you're going to have one special spot, which is right here, to save all of your rubrics. So at the end of the quarter, and you want to go back and look to see what your scores were, you have everything saved right here in your rubrics. You also need to create a folder that's called Learning Targets. And Learning Targets, you're all familiar with that. These are what our goals are going to be for the day or for the week in that particular class. So I'm going to go back a step here. I'm going to go back to my drive. Now you see my coding folder. Double click. I have my learning targets and I have my rubrics. If there's other images that you want to download for App Inventor, which most of you will do, you may want to create another folder called Images. So when you go to Google to find your image and save it, you have one spot to save it instead of just downloads. All right, let's go to our website. The first spot we're going to go to is called Coding Rubric, and there's two that we need to download. So I'm going to open up the first one. This is the document that we will look at when we evaluate your code, and more specifically, how well you understand the code. So you can see the scoring criteria, which is 4-3-2-1, Advanced, Proficient, Basic, Emerging. It does give you a little description about it. So if you're wondering, how do I score Proficient? Here's your indicator right here. Page number 2 has your notebook, and the notebook will be important to keep up to date. Table of contents, you can color code it, you can include extra notes for it. That's yours, but I'm going to look at it as well. So you want to keep good notes that are legible, that I can read, and somebody else could look at it if they needed to figure out what's going on. Right now it's view only, so we want to make a copy. We're going to click on File, Make a Copy. We can leave the name as it is for now, which is fine. I'm just going to hit OK. I don't need to do anything with this right now. I'm just going to close this, and I want to also close this one here. I'm going to go back to my drive. Now I have to go back to my drive, not inside the coding folder. I'm going to drag this into my coding folder. I'm going to drag it into the rubrics folder. I'm going to right click and I'm going to rename it. You could have done it on the previous step, but I'm just showing a different way to do this. I'm going to call this template. Now you do need to keep a template because you're going to have about 7 of these in this folder eventually. You want to have one as your main one that you're going to make a copy from. So when I do my first activity, which is called Digital Doodle, I'll do a right click, make a copy. It makes the copy right inside here. I'll do a right click, rename, and it's now called Digital Doodle. So when you come back to look at your grades, you can see here's my Digital Doodle score, here's my Sound Decision score, here's my Sprite Smash score. You can see all your rubrics very easily. Back to the website. Next one is the course layout. And the course layout, what the purpose of this is for you to see a real quick glance. Okay, here's all my scores. I got them finished. Here's what I got, and so on. Same thing, we're going to do File, Make a Copy. And we're going to do this one. We're going to make a name change here. We're going to hit OK. It's going to my drive, so we have to go back to your drive. I'm going to drag it in my coding folder. I'm going to drag this into the rubrics because it deals with your grades, your score. When I finish my first app and I get a score in my rubric, I'm going to then transfer that same score over here. So talk to me. This might just be a check off, yes, you got it done, or whatever. Digital Doodle, I scored a 3. I can type in 3. My notebook score was also a 3. And in Canvas, I scored 2 out of 2. I can put 2 right there. Any comments that I have or anything else that I need to do would go in that section right over here on the right-hand side. I'm going to close that real quickly. And the last part that I need to do is to go down to the Learning Targets page. Same exact thing what you're working on now. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click on File, Make a Copy. And I'm going to just call this Learning Targets. Hit OK. Back to my drive. I'm going to drag this into coding. Now this time it's going to go into my Learning Targets folder. Same idea. Here's week 1. So I need to do a right click, make a copy. There's for the next week's learning targets, and so on. So you should have 8 or so documents in this folder when it's all said and done. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, you can always watch the video again. And if you're really stuck or confused, go ahead and ask me for some help. Thanks a lot.